Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG Review. Today we're taking a look at Warhammer 40,000 Codex Chaos Space Marines, the latest 10th edition Codex, which was kindly sent along as a complimentary review copy by Games Workshop. So this is the big bad, Chaos, of course, the big bad that ripped the galaxy in half, not necessarily the big bad, which we all know is actually the Tyranids, but the sort of like the foil to the Imperium being the Heretic Astartes and all of their sort of like supporters. Wonderful cover with the weirdest, I don't know if it's horns, I don't know what this thing is growing off this guy in the back, and very similar to the previous edition. This book is, I believe, just under 200 pages. 160 pages, 160 pages, and contains data cards for pretty much everything available, and with some sort of like rejiggering, you could probably do all of your old units as well, and a couple of new units, which I pulled the data cards for, and several new sort of like detachment formations, allowing you to play the various different kinds of armies that could possibly exist in the game. There are rules for some of the new units that came out in Kill Team, allowing you to play with the various like Kill Team sort of like expansions to Chaos, like the Trader Command, along with their Trader Guardsmen, so the Ogren and Trader Commissar and the new Chaos Guardsmen that came out in Kill Team, as well as the Felgor Beastmen too. So nice sort of expansion to the sort of weird mutation-y stuff that was in the last book. The nice big possessed guys and a variety of ways to theme your army with detachments. So what I'm going to do, and remember today, I am first of all horribly unqualified to give you a meta-analysis of this book. That is not what I'm here to do. My goal is to tell you what's in here, what's different ways you can play the army, and why this will be different from the 9th edition book and adds to the data slates that are available for Kill Team, for Warhammer 40k, for the Chaos Space Marines. There's going to be lots of people that'll tell you what the broken combos are. I don't do that. That's not what I do. I'm more into what's the story look like, what are you going to get background-wise. If you were to start playing Chaos Space Marines tomorrow, what would this book do for you and let you theme your army as? Because, yeah, that's what I care about. So if you're looking for that, you should probably look elsewhere because you're not going to get it on this channel. I would rather die. So like I said, 160 pages. Including point values, I believe, and a nice little scan at the app, and a name generator, because you gotta have a name generator these days. Lots of cool point values for you to look at, although they probably won't stay the same for very long, and so there's a QR code to go grab the app, and if you pay for the app, you can make more than one army list at a time. Also, you will get a download code, which I conveniently remembered to cover up this time around in the back of this book, so it doesn't instantly get stolen by some viewer, and I might actually get to put in my app this time around. So first of all, and also, sorry, they also sent along the datasheet cards, which are handy for like quickly sorting through your game. If you want to carry your book around, you can carry these instead. But like I said, these will be on the app as well that you can download and have flip through on your phone. It does come with an army rule card, which I thought was cool, which all the new ones have. And this is just a extra sort of like reprinting of the Dark Pacts rule in here. Cults of the Dark Gods. So if your army faction is Heretic Astartes, you can include any of the following units in your army. And when you do, their faction keywords are replaced with Heretic Astartes. So you can use Khorne Berserkers, Rubric Marines, Plague Marines, and Noise Marines. The combined point value of such units can include in your army is dependent on the battle side. So in an incursion game, basically it's a quarter. So in an incursion game, you can use 250 points. In a strike force game, it's 500 points. And in an onslaught game, it's 750 points worth of guys from that army, or with that keyword, sorry, can get added in and taken as like allies. So a neat little way to use those things and not have to reprint them in this book. It does mean that to get the rules for those guys, you would need to buy the additional books. So I'm both for and against this, because in one case, this is a very long book. Like the Space Marines, the Chaos Space Marines get really long when you start slamming in all the mutant, chaos, Trader Guard stuff. On the flip side, it's only 4 more data sheets. But I guess anything with that keyword, the Khorne Berserkers keyword, the Rubric Marines keyword, the Plague Marine, and Noise Marines. There could be some additional units, but I'm pretty sure it's just those units in bold. And then your Dark Pacts is, if your army has Heretic Astartes, each time a unit with this ability is selected to shoot or fight, it can make a Dark Pact. If it does, it must first take a leadership test before any of the Dark Pacts are resolved. If it's failed, you take D3 mortal wounds. Then select one of the following abilities. You get either lethal hits or sustained hits 1. So lethal hits is 6s are automatically wounding, and then sustained hits is on a 6 to hit, critical hit, you get an additional hit. Pretty cool. It's just you run the risk of, you know, taking wounds, but everybody's leadership is pretty good, except for the little guys. So the little guys, you know, it's a 7+ for the most part, but other than that, you can kind of like juice yourself up by praying to the dark gods. All right, let's jump into the detachments, then I'll check out some new data sheets. I'm not doing every data sheet in here. I'm going to flip through and show you what's available. I'm not doing a breakdown. I said that earlier, but just to, if you're waiting for that, we're not doing it. Vets of the Long War. I believe this is the one that was available for free during the 10th edition launch, so you'll be able to check this out already online if you've downloaded that index. But just to recap it, your detachment rule is Focused Hatred, or Focus of Hatred. At the start of your command phase, select one unit from your army to be your focus of hatred, the thing that you hate the most. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a Heretic Astartes model from your army, excluding Dan models, so all the like Mutant D, Chaos E, Guards mini stuff, makes an attack that targets them, just reroll the hit roll. So you just have a thing that you hate this turn, and you reroll your hits against it, as long as you're like an actual Space Marine for the most part, or one of the demon guys. And then your enhancements, you're going to get 3. You've got the War Master's Gift, sorry, 4 rather. The War Master's Gift, Chaos Lord only. Each time the bearer makes an attack that targets your focus of hatred, a 5+ to wounds and crit wound. Eager for Vengeance, Heretic Astartes models only. Again, excluding Dan models. The bearer's unit's eligible to shoot and charge in a turn in which they fell back. While doing so, each time a model in that unit makes an attack that targets your focus of hatred, add 1 to the hit roll, and each time you select your focus of hatred as a target for your charge, get +1 to the charge roll. So it just gives you, like, when your focus of hatred stuff, like all your Marines can just run away and still do stuff, and the focus of hatred gets more jacked, basically by everybody in your army that's a Space Marine. I have Abaddon, Heretic Astartes model only, excluding Dan models while the bearers in the battlefield. Each time your focus of hatred is destroyed, on a 4+ gain a CP. Mark a Legend for Heretic Astartes only. Once per turn, you can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, 1 save roll made for the bearer. So it's a nice, efficient combination of enhancements and your focus of hatred thing. It's all just designed around picking something every turn and making it dead. Endless Ire. You got basically everything's 1 CP except for Endless Ire and Bringers of Despair. So this is one of your epic deeds. When any phase after you've killed your focus of hatred, this is 2 CPs, then you can combine it with I have Abaddon to potentially make this down to 1. 1 Heretic Astartes character unit from your army, excluding damned units. Select an enemy unit within 12 and visible to your unit until the end of your next command phase. That enemy is considered your focus of hatred. So what it allows you to do is for basically 2 CPs, or 1 if you manage to like refund it with I have Abaddon. You've rerolled against that unit, and then now it's dead. You can switch it over so you don't waste the rest of your rerolls for the turn. Basically, you can just like switch fire over to something else. Contemptuous Disregard. This is 1 CP when your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase just after an enemy has selected a target. So when someone attacks you, target 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that's not damned, that was selected as the target. And until the end of the phase, each time your attack targets you, your AP goes down by 1. So it's just the armor of contempt, except now it's Contemptuous Disregard. Rose by any other name. And then Bringers of Despair. When it is the start of the fight phase, and you pick a Heretic Astartes unit that's not damned, pick Space Marines basically, or demons, but it's within the engagement range of your focus of hatred, and then you get fight first. So you basically count as charging against your bringers of your target as long as you've got the 2 CPs to spend. And then Black Crusade for 1 CP. Your movement phase is the when. Target is one of your infantry units that's a Space Marine or Astartes mounted units. And the effect is until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot, in which turn in which advanced or fell back, and bolt pistols, bolt guns, combi bolters, equipped by models in your unit have the Devastating Wounds ability, while your unit has not already inflicted 6 wounds this turn using this ability. That's such a weird phrasing for that. Basically, Devastating Wounds up to the 6th Devastating Wound. Yeah, it's just so awkwardly worded. And then Let the Galaxy Burn for 1 CP in your shooting phase. You can pick one of your Space Marine units, excluding Tzeentch units, that has not been selected to shoot this phase, so you can use damned units this time. And the effect is, until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by the model in your unit have the Ignore Cover ability, and change the attack's characteristic of Torrent weapons to 6. So basically, they pull out all the flamers because they don't want them to jack up too high. And the last one's Millennia of Experience. The when's your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit ends a normal move, advance or fall back, and the target's 1 Heretic Astartes infantry or Heretic Astartes mounted unit from your army, excluding damn units, that's within 9 of that enemy unit, and not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. And the effect is they can make a normal move up to 6 inches. So that's the core one. Then we get into Deceptor. So now what you're going to notice for the rest of these is They don't give you Legion-specific rules. What they're giving you instead is themes. So this doesn't say Alpha Legion, but definitely it's Alpha Legion. The later on ones are things like Renegade Raiders for like a biker army, Dread Talons for like a Night Lord style army, the Fellhammer Siege Host for like an Iron Warrior style army, Pact-bound Zealots for Khorne, Chaos Cult for all the little puny humans, and then Soulforged Warpack for all the demon engine-y stuff. So they're themes, not legions, and I really approve of that because it means that you're not locking into like a color scheme or something like that. I don't know what it is with Games Workshop fans. They feel like they need permission to do everything a lot of the time. So I think the broader you keep things like these detachments, the probably better it is just to like not make them wait. They pick a theme for themselves, like they're kind of forced to, as opposed to saying, no, this is a world leader. Like you have codexes for all those armies now. Now it's just like, take the things that don't have codexes and give them a theme instead. So for our Deceptors, their detachment rule is the Master of Misdirection. If you declare battle formation step, in the declare battle formation step, you can select a number of legionnaires and cultist mobs from your army. Until the end of the battle, those units and any characters attached to them, except epic heroes, have the Infiltrator's ability, which is really cool. The max number is based on your battle side. So you get 2 in Incursion, 3 in Strike Force, and 4 in Onslaught for legionaries. And then same for cultist mobs. So even in an Incursion game, 4 of your units can infiltrate. In Strike Force, it's 6, 3, and 3, and in Onslaught, it's 4 and 4. Your enhancements are things like a falsehood. I always think of the falsehood as being like the Mission Impossible like mask that they can like pull on or pull off, or the Ghost in the Shell mask that makes you invisible. It's Chaos Lord's model only, excluding Terminator and Jump Pack models, so not that cool new Jump Pack Chaos Lord. In the declare battle formation step, you can set the bear up in reserves instead of putting it on the battlefield, and if you do so, in the reinforcement step of one of your movement phases, you can select one model in a friendly Legionnaires or chosen unit, and that model is destroyed, and the bear is set up as close as possible to them. So basically, you attach that unit as its leader. You bamf a guy. It's old polymorphine from 2nd edition 40k. You just bamf a guy in, and that's this new Chaos Lord model. So it's like a surprise Chaos Lord inside a unit. I think it's a cool enhancement. It's thematic. It's not, like, it doesn't do any mechanical advantage, so I don't think anyone's going to use it, but I think it's super cool. The Cursed Fang. This is a Heretic Astartes infantry model only. Improve the AP characteristic of your melee weapons by 1, and they get precision. So basically you can kill out characters. Shroud of Obfuscation. It's Heretic Astartes infantry only. You get stealth and lone operative, so you're kind of invisible. And then Soul Link, Heretic Astartes infantry models only. At the start of your command phase, you can select one other Heretic Astartes infantry character from your army, excluding epic heroes. Until the start of your next command phase, the bearer gains the Psyker keyword. Yeah, this replaces the bearer's data sheet abilities and data sheet abilities of the character that you selected. So basically, you turn into somebody else. you become a Psyker, and like your brain becomes somebody else's brain. I think that's super neat. There's some cool things there that would allow you to like, yeah, your abilities would like swap over to like a Master of Possession or something like that. It's just neat. Detonator. So these are all of your strats. They're all 1 CP, no 2 CP ones. So Detonator, I think this one's hilarious. It's a War Gear stratagem. The when is any phase just after an enemy model with a deadly demise ability, excluding Titanic models, unfortunately is destroyed. And the target's a Heretic Astartes character unit within 18 of the enemy model when they were destroyed. Your opponent does not roll to determine mortal wounds. Instead, mortal wounds are automatically inflicted and randomly determine the number still, and your opponent rolls to determine the number as normal. So there's no like waiting to roll a 6 to see if you blow up. It's just, you just blow up. They put a bomb on you already, which I think is very funny. From all sides, when the start of your charge phase, the target's a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, and the effect is until the end of the phase, add one of the charge rolls made for each of other Heretic Astartes unit from your army that made a charge move this phase. So you're going to add, everybody who makes a charge, you get +1. But they have to succeed, right? So like you start with the closest, everybody after that's going to get +1 of the roll, up to +3. Pick them off in your shooting phase, one Heretic Astartes unit from your army that wasn't selected yet to shoot or fight. And the effect is until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit that's below starting strength, you can reroll the hit roll. If the target's below half strength, you can reroll the wound roll as well. The Coils of Deception. The when your movement phase, just after a Heretic Astartes unit from your army falls back, and the target's another Heretic Astartes unit. The effect is until the end of your turn, your unit's eligible to shoot in a turn in which it fell back. So Relentless Pursuit is also 1 CP when your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit makes a normal advance or fallback move, so when something moves. And then one Heretic Astartes unit that's infantry or mounted in your army that's within 9 of that enemy unit and not in engagement range, they can make a normal move up to 6. So basically you can respond to somebody's move. It's a bit like the AOS, push forward what it is, forward into victory. And then scrambled coordinates for 1 CP. When, at the start of your reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase, target 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army. And the effect is until the end of the phase, enemy units that are set up in reserve cannot be set up within 12 horizontally of your units. So push guys back. I love all of these. That one's very handy against demons in particular. This is, again, not mechanically powerful necessarily. It's all like on table advantage, but it's very thematic, and I think it's cooler than just calling this a Alpha Legion list. You know what I mean? Like, it is obviously able to be used to play that, but the fact that it is just so, like, I don't know, it's just fun. They're like space pirates. You could play a bunch of different armies like this. You could play Night Lords like this too if you wanted to. All right, Renegade Raiders. Raiders and Reavers. Ranged weapons equipped by Heretic Astartes models from your army have the Assault ability, and each time a Heretic Astartes model from your army makes an attack that targets a unit within range of an objective marker, their AP goes up by 1. So these are the Stealers. They're the Red Corsairs, basically. These are the real space pirates, the modern Astartes that have fallen to chaos. And they want to steal from you. They just love stealing. They love taking things. Despots, they're all benders. Despot's Claim is your first enhancement. Heretic Astartes models only. At the start of your command phase, the bearer is on the battlefield. Roll a d6, adding 1 to the result if they're within 12 of your opponent's deployment zone. On a 5+, get a CP. He's just like, this is mine. Everything I see is mine. He's like the cat from Red Dwarf, just like, mine, that's mine, that's mine. That's an incredibly dated BBC science fiction reference for all of you. Stand out in the comments if you got the Red Dwarf reference. Dread Reaver. Heretic Astartes model only. Each time your bearer makes a melee attack, if the bearer is wholly within 12 of your opponent's deployment zone, you can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll. So again, this is all about like positioning. Mark of the Hound. Models of the bearer's unit have this scout ability for Heretic Astartes. And then Tyrant's Lash. Heretic Astartes model only can reroll advance rolls made for the bearer's unit, and the bearer's unit is eligible to shoot when they fall back. And then we got our 6 strats. Once again, these are all 1 CP. You got Unfailingly Obdurate. When your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, just after an enemy unit selected its targets, and the target's a Heretic Astartes unit that's not damned, that was the target of the attack. And the effect is until the end of the phase, each time you pick attack targets your unit, the AP goes down by 1. It's just Armor of Contempt with a completely different name from the last time we saw it in the same book. I have a bugbear about that. Honestly, like, just keep the damn names the same. If it's going to be in the same codex, Contemptuous Disregard can also be Unfailingly Obdurate. It's the literal same thing, okay? Like, just make them the same. You're just adding mental load to people for no reason. And confusing opponents, right? Like, there's no reason to have the different name. Just have them have a similar thing. It doesn't. We're not going to pretend it's different, right? We're just gonna use the same rule. Scour and Seize, 1 CP in the fight phase. The target's 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase, and until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets the unit within an objective marker, that attack has precision. So if you're near an objective, you get to like kill out characters and, you know, weapon bearers and stuff from a unit. Opportunistic Raiders is the next one. At the end of the fight phase, the target's a Astartes unit from your army that was eligible to fight this phase. And then the effect is, if your unit's not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, they can make a normal move up to 6 inches or up to 12 if they're mounted. Otherwise, they could also make a fallback move. It cannot embark on a transport at the end of this move if it already disembarked in one this turn, but you could get back into one if you haven't come out of one the same turn. Very handy, like extra, like get guys in a zone. That's actually a really powerful ability. Warp Charge Engines for 1 CP. In the movement phase, one of your Heretic Astartes transport or Heretic Astartes mounted units from your army that's not selected to move yet. And the effect is until the end of the phase, if your unit advances, do not make an advance roll for it. Instead, until the end of the phase, add 6 to the move. So that's just a turbo boost. Ruinous Raid. In your shooting phase or your fight phase, 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that disembarked from a transport this turn and hasn't been selected to shoot or fight yet this phase. And the effect is until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, if the target of that attack is within range of an objective marker, you can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll. So, like, just blasting things off objectives. Just stealing everything on the objective. This is like, honestly, the Renegade Raiders feels like it's not necessarily super tied to unit types, so it doesn't work on vehicles for the most part. But being able to like upgun infantry and mounted guys is pretty great. And then Reaver's Haste in your charge phase, 1 Heretic Astartes infantry or Heretic Astartes mounted unit from your army, and the effect is until the end of the phase, your unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. If you select 1 or more units within range of objective, you get +1 to charge too. So it's all about just pushing guys objective and stealing their stuff. This one, Dread Talents. This is the Night Lordsy kind of one. Your detachment roll is Terror Descends. It's an aura. In the Battle Shock step of your opponent's command phase, if an enemy unit's below starting strength and within 12 of one or more Heretic Astartes units from your army, they have to take a Battle Shock test. That's a crazy powerful ability for a 12-inch aura for all of your Heretic Astartes units. Each time an enemy unit's within 12 of one or more Heretic Astartes units in your army takes a Battle Shock test, they're -1. Enemy units affected by this detachment rule do not need to take any other Battle Shock tests in the same phase. But that's just the same phase. So in the command phase, if you're nearby, everything is taking a check. And remember, that's not excluding damned units. So like all your little crappy units do it too. Like the Traitor Enforcer, they're all Heretic Astartes. Everyone's extra scary. Everyone's wearing skinned faces. Like I would get all my cultists. I would buy the Unmade from Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the Warcry warband, and use them all as my cultists for Night Lords because they're all wearing their own faces, which is pretty amazing. Just give them all guns, give them all Necromunda guns. All right, enhancements. The Night Shroud, Chaos Lord model only. Models in the Bearers unit have the stealth ability, minus Terminators. Can't make a stealthy Terminator still. Willbreaker, it's a Heretic Styles model only. I should just say, it's not damned basically. In the fight phase, after the Bearers made its attack, select one enemy unit hit by one of those attacks. They have to make a Battle Shock test. You cause so many Battle Shock tests in this army. Also, I think this still stacks to that because it's a separate line under Terror Descends. Auras are always on, and this just says each time an enemy unit within 12 of one of your Heretic Astartes units takes a Battle Shock test is -1. So I'm pretty sure the one that you take, when you're taking one in the command phase, that's one line. You're taking one afterwards, that's just permanently your -1 to command to Battle Shock test nearby. That's so powerful. So like there's a million ways to cause Battle Shock tests. This one's like, guys just aren't holding objectives at that point or getting strats on them. Like that's a huge problem for some armies. Warp-fueled thrusters, jump pack Chaos Lord model only. At the end of your opponent's turn, if the Bearer's unit's not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, you can remove them from the battlefield and put them back up in the sky. They can just take off and come down again later. And then Eater of Dread, Heretic Astartes model only. At the start of your command phase, if the Bearer's in the battlefield, roll a d6, adding 1 to the result for each battle shocked enemy in the battlefield, and a 5+ get a CP. So just scare everyone and then eat their fear. It's great. It's very Night Lords. Again, kind of like the hit everything harder on objectives, being able to just like aura out Battle Shock is crazy. Yeah, just crazy. So then Depthless Cruelty, 1 CP, and these are all 1 CP again. When the fight phase, the target's a Heretic Astartes infantry unit from your army that's not been selected to fight yet. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit that is Battle Shocked and or below half strength, the AP against them goes up by 1. So they're just scared, so you hit them when they're down. All I can think of is the Simpsons was like, it's time to kick some back. It's just, I don't know why it popped in my head. And then Bloody Example, when the fight phase, just after Heretic Astartes unit from your army destroys a character unit, and the target's another Heretic Astartes unit, or that Heretic Astartes unit, each enemy unit within 12 must make a Battle Shock test. So I was like, between Willbreaker, Bloody Example, and Terror Descends, you can cause a lot of Battle Shock tests during the turn. Pitiless Hunters, it's 1 CP, your shooting phase, target 1 Heretic Astartes infantry unit from your army that's not been selected to shoot this phase yet. And the effect is until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit that's Battle Shocked and or below half strength, you can roll the hit roll and reroll the wound roll. So just like murdering things that are Battle Shocked. Relentless Terror, when your movement phase, just after a Heretic Astartes infantry unit from your army falls back and it targets them, and the effect is until the end of the turn, your unit's eligible to declare a charge, even though it fell back. Screaming Descent, in the reinforcement step of your movement phase, from a second battle round onwards, and the target's 1 Heretic Astartes jump pack unit from your army that's in reserves. The effect is set your unit up anywhere in the battlefield that's more than 3 horizontally away from all enemy units, but until the end of the turn, they can't declare a charge. And then select a visible infantry or mounted unit within 6, and they make a Battle Shock test. So you trade basically the possibility of charging for just auraing out within 6 a Battle Shock test, and you're right next to the opponent too. It's pretty cool, but you can still shoot. Remember, so you can just show up within 3 and shoot. I feel like that one's gonna get abused, but it has to be jump back units. You don't have tons of guns. And then finally, Merciless Pursuit, when your opponent's movement phase and the target's 1 Heretic Astartes infantry unit from your army that's not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, and the effect is select 1 enemy unit that fell back this turn within 6 of your unit. You can declare a charge as if it was your charge phase, and when doing so, you can only select that enemy unit as the target of the charge. Note that even if this charge is successful, your unit does not receive any charge bonus this turn. So that's neat. At the end of your unit, basically you can charge your opponent's turn because you're scary. Yes. Fellhammer Siege Host. This is the tank one. You want to get heavy supporty? Let's do it. This is the one that's going to be, this is all the guns. So each time a ranged attack targets a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, excluding damned units, if the strength characteristic of the attack is greater than the toughness, it's -1 to wound. So -1 to wound against all your vehicles, basically, that could be hurt by... It's almost transhuman physiology for vehicles, because it's very rare that a weapon's going to be double a toughness like 6 or 7. It'll happen occasionally, but it's kind of guaranteeing that your tanks are only wounded on 4+. It's called Iron Fortitude. And then we've got Bastion Plate for your Chaos Lord, excluding jump packs. Once per battle round, when a saving throw is failed, the damage goes to 0. A Warp Tracer for Heretic Astartes models. In your shooting phase, after the bearer is shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the end of the phase, that enemy unit cannot benefit from cover, because you can shoot tracer rounds at them. Ironbound Enmity for a Astartes model. Each time, sorry, it's just Heretic Astartes, could be a Dan model too. Each time the bearer makes an attack while it's within range of an objective, add 1 to the wound roll. And then Iron Artifice, your weapons gain anti-vehicle 4+ and anti-fortification 4+. Kind of neat. All right, so now we've got our 6, once again, all 1 CP stratagems. You get Persistent Assailants for the fight phase. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that's selected as the target of 1 or more attacks this phase and has not been selected to fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll, and if your unit's below half strength, you can reroll the wound roll too. So the more damaged you are, the more likely you are to be able to reroll both. Brutal Attrition. When the fight phase, just after an enemy unit selected its targets, the target's a Heretic Astartes infantry unit from your army that's not damned. That was the target of the attack. And then effects until the end of the phase. Each time a melee attack is allocated to your unit, after attacking, units made its attacks, roll a d6. For each 4+, you take a mortal wound. And that's a melee attack is allocated to your unit. Oh my god. Not a wound, just an attack. But it's a maximum of 6. So basically, if you take 6 attacks, a melee attack is allocated to your unit. I think that's just hits. That's such weirdly wording. Until the end of the phase, each time a melee attack is allocated to your unit. It doesn't say wound, it says attack. So I think like if someone attacks you 6 times, you just get 6d6 4+ mortal wounds against them. It's very weird the way that's worded, because it doesn't say hits or wounds, it just says a melee attack is allocated. And when you allocate attacks, you just count the number of attack dice you're going to roll and then allocate them towards the target of what you're attacking. Tell me in the comments what you think that means, because I'm not super sure. Pitiless Cannonade. When your shooting phase, target 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that's not been selected to shoot this phase. And the effect is, until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit that's below half strength, a successful unmodified hit of 5+ is a crit. So good 5+ critical shooting. That can be on tanks because it's just a Heretic Astartes unit from your army. Same with Persistent Assailants. Point blank destruction for 1 CP. Now in your shooting phase, and the target's a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that's within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units and has not selected to shoot yet. Until the end of the phase, all your ranged weapons except for blast have the pistol ability. And then we've got Steadfast Determination. When your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, the target's a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, excluding damned units. That was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. And the effect is until the end of the phase, models in your army have the Feel No Pain 5+ ability. So some sweet, like not getting killed by shooting. And then we have Siegecraft. When your opponent's charge phase and the target's a Heretic Astartes unit from your army. Effect is until the end of the phase, each time an enemy unit is selected as the target of a charge, subtract 2 from the charge roll, but it's not cumulative with any other negative modifiers to the charge roll. So keep your guys safe by making them hard to charge. Damage reduction from shooting, and then if you get bogged down, some ways of like getting your guys to still be shooting. It's neat. It doesn't do a lot of like mechanical upping to your damage output, but it means that it's hard to neutralize things from being able to shoot by just engaging them and stuff like that. And this Pitiless Cannonade, just giving yourself 5+ crits, can be very handy for certain weapons. All right, Pact-bound Zealots. This one is going to be based upon what god your mutations are crawling out of you from. So, Marks of Chaos is the detachment rule. When you're mustering your army, when you select a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that's not an epic hero, and does not have one of the following keywords, you must give it a key, basically a god word. So Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, Slaanesh are undivided. Every time a unit with one of these keywords gains a weapon ability from the result of Dark Pact that does not fail the leadership test, they also gain the following bonus. So basically, it ups your abilities from Dark Pact, and if you always get the ones when you pass or fail, like you get lethal hits or sustain hits. In this case, if you pass, you also get this ability, so it's an additional bonus. Khorne gives you 5+ crit hits in melee. Tzeentch gives you 5+ crit hits in shooting. Chaos Undivided, each time a model makes an attack, you reroll hits of 1. And then units that gain sustained hit 1, so it's Nurgle, you get 5+ crit hits. And Slaanesh, 5+ crit hits. So like lethal hits get these ones, and then sustained hits get these ones. Nurgle's a 5+ crit hit. Slaanesh is a melee 5+ crit hit. And then Chaos Undivided's reroll 1s. So that's cool. Restrictions, Khorne keyword can't go on Psychers, and a character can only be attached to a unit with the same keyword as above. So if you have a character, they need to have the same keyword to join a unit. That's neat. So basically, all of the Nurgle and Slaanesh, you want to pick sustained hits 1. All of the Khorne and Tzeentch, you want to pick lethal hits. And then Chaos Undivided just gets reroll 1s for everything. If you want, it's kind of neat. Enhancements, Talisman of Burning Blood. So this one is Heretic Astartes model only, but Khorne, and there's one of each of the gods. This is the Khorne one. Add one of the attack and strength characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons. Each time the bearer's unit makes a Dark Pact and does not fail, roll a d3. Until the end of the phase, add the result of the attacks and strength characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons instead. So when you make a Dark Pact, you go from 1 to d3 to your bonuses. I have Tzeentch. Each time a bearer's unit makes a Dark Pact and does not fail the resulting leadership test, if the result was 8 or more, get a CP. Orbs of Unlife for Nurgle. At the end of the fight phase, roll 1d6 for every enemy unit within 3 of the bearer, adding 1 to the result if the bearer's Dark Pact was made that phase and did not fail their leadership test. On a 4+, take d3 mortal wounds, so you get all gross and burst. Intoxicating Elixir. This is for Slaanesh only. The bearer has the Feel No Pain 5+ ability. Each time the bearer shoots or fights, if the bearer's unit made a Dark Pact this phase and did not fail the resulting leadership test after the bearer has resolved those attacks, select one enemy unit that was hit by 1 or more of those attacks, and that enemy must make a Battle Shock test. So, extra fighty, more CPs, bursting mortal wounds, and or make a Battle Shock test. It's all handy. I like it. Then we get our 6 1 CP abilities. These are Eye of the Gods. So the first one's when in the fight phase, just after Heretic Astartes character unit from your army that isn't Damned, Demon, or Epic, destroys an enemy unit, and then targets another character in that unit. Until the end of the battle, add 1 to the move, toughness, and wounds characteristic of that character model, and add 1 to the attack, strength, and damage characteristics of that character model's melee weapons. So you basically just like, you level up, get bigger after you kill a unit. Eternal Hatred. When the fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, the target's a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of the attacks. And the effect is until the end of the phase, each model in your unit is destroyed. If that model has not fought this phase, roll a d6, adding 1 to the result of the Khorne, if it's a Khorne unit. On a 4+, don't remove them to play, they fight, then they get removed. So it's a cool Khorne ability. And again, some of these are tied to different gods, so the next one is Undivided. And then we've got Tzeentch, and then we've got Slaanesh. So Profane Zeal, your shooting phase or fight phase. This one is a Heretic Astartes Chaos Undivided unit from your army that's not hit, shot, or fight, and you can re-roll the wound roll when you make an attack. Skin Shift in your command phase for a Heretic Astartes unit from your army. 1 model in the unit regains up to 3 lost wounds. In addition, if you're a Tzeentch unit, below starting strength, 1 destroyed model is returned to your units with full wounds remaining. So basically, you get possessed. And then Torpifying Refrain for 1 CP. Your movement phase, 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army is the target, and the effect is until the end of the turn, you can declare a charge in a turn in which you fell back. And if you're Slaanesh, until the end of the turn, you can shoot and declare a charge. If you advanced or fell back. And then finally, Festering Miasma. When your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit selected its targets, the target's 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of their attacks. And then effect is until the end of the phase, your unit has the stealth ability. In addition, if your unit is a Nurgle unit, you can only be selected as a target if they're within 18. So a very handy, you disappear under the cloud of flies. And that's Pact-bound Zealots. I think this one's probably going to be pretty popular because there's lots of mechanical advantage to it, and there's not really a lot of restriction. All of these strats can go on everything, and you're picking marks, right? So you can pick which ones you really want to be able to be used. This one affects characters only, but for the most part, it's kind of everything. So it's even the Khorne one can be anybody, right? Like they can all be anybody. You just get extra bonuses if they're from that god. All right, and then it's Chaos Cult. Chaos Cult has Desperate Devotion. I mean, I'd be desperate if I was just a regular human running with these Chaos Space Marines. Each time a damn unit from your army with the Dark Pact's ability is selected to make a normal move or advanced move or declare charge, it can make a Desperate Pact. If it does, until the end of the phase, add 2 to the move characteristic of models in that unit, and add 2 to the charge rolls. And then Desperate Pacts, each time a unit with a Desperate Pact, it must first make a leadership test. If that test has failed, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and then you get the effect of the pact. And then keywords, Traitor Guardsmen gain Battle Line. So your Traitor Guardsmen become Battle Line. The Cultists are already Battle Line, so it doesn't really matter. So that's handy. They get their own little like Dark Pact, but it's a Desperate Pact instead, because they're just like, please don't kill us. Please, please, we'll do good, we promise. So your enhancements are all for the little humans. So a Dark Apostle or Damned model only for Cultist's brand. If every other model in the Bearer's unit, excluding Dark Disciples, is damned, you can reroll advance and charge rolls made for the Bearer's unit. The Amulet of Tainted Vigor is the next one, Dark Apostle models only. In your command phase, you can return up to D3 destroy damned models, excluding character models, to the Bearer's unit. Incendiary Goad, Dark Apostle or Damned model only. While the unit's Bearer's unit's below its starting strength, add 1 of the strength characteristics of its melee weapons equipped by the Damned models in the unit, and while it's below half strength, add 1 of the attacks as well. So the more you get like damaged, the more fighty you get. And then finally, Warped Foresight. For a Dark Apostle or Damned model, you get Scout 6+. And then you get 6, of course, 1 CP abilities. It's funny that the core one was the only one with 2s. You get Chosen for Glory in the shooting or fight phase, 1 damn unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight. You can make a Desperate Pact, and if you do, until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. If your unit does not fail the resulting leadership test, when making it, you can get the wound roll as well. So that means you're going to get to like +2 charge, and then also get these. Oh no, because it's a different phase, actually, never mind. So you'd make it in the charge phase, then you would make it again later on. just rolling all kinds of leadership tests. Yeah, that's really funny. Selfless Demise for 1 CP. In the fight phase, just after an enemy unit selected its targets, the target's a damn unit from your army that was selected as the target of attack, and the effect is until the attacking unit has resolved all of its attacks, each time model unit is destroyed on a 6, they take a mortal wound after all its attacks have been resolved. So when you're getting punched, you punch back, which for hordes of cultists is probably a good idea. Infernal Sacrifice, it's in the fight phase as well. The target is 1 damn unit from your army that has not been selected to fight yet. And the effect is your unit can make a Desperate Pact, and if it does so, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds in addition to the ones that happen if you fail. And until the end of the phase, add 1 of the attack characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in the unit. And if your unit did not fail, until the end of the phase, you improve your strength by 1 as well. So you just you're just throwing yourself at the bad guys, basically. The bad guys. You are the bad guys. The badder guys? I don't know. Crazed Focus for 1 CP. In your shooting phase, when 1 damn unit from your army has not been selected yet to shoot, and the effect is your unit can make a Desperate Pact, and if it does, until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, improve the AP of the attack by 1, and if your unit did not fail, when making the Desperate Pact, you get the strength to go up by 1 too. So that's pretty cool. AP and strength on lasguns going to strength 4 is pretty neat, actually. And then Reckless Hate, because like I think Traitor Guardsman squads just have like strength 3 lasguns. Traitor Guardsman squad, you could have a bolt gun in the leader, which is strength 4, but then for the most part, they got lasguns that are rapid fire 1, strength 3. So strength 4 lasguns is no joke. Not that it's great, but it's something. And if you pass the test, you get +1 as well. And their leadership's 7+. Reckless Hate in your charge phase targets a damn unit from your army, and the effect is until the end of the turn, your unit's eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. And then finally, Mortal Thralls for 1 CP in your opponent's shooting phase just after you've selected a target, and the target's a Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more attacking units, and there's a damn unit within 3, because you get thrown in front of the guns. The effect is until the end of the phase, while your damn unit's on the battlefield, each time your opponent would make a wound roll. For an attack that targets a Heretic Astartes unit. If your damn unit is visible to the attacking model and it's eligible to be the target, no roll is made. Instead, the damn unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage of the attack. So you can just completely screen units with Mortal Thralls, which I think is very funny. All right, it's our last one, the Soulforged Warpack. So this is all the demonic engines and stuff. This is the Vashtor army, basically. We got the Den of the Soulforged. Each time a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle unit from your army makes a Dark Pact, it can invoke its contract. If it does so, subtract 1 from the resulting leadership test when making that Dark Pact. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, add 1 to the wound roll. Add 2 to the attack's characteristic of the melee weapons equipped by models in that unit. So that's cool. Your Dark Pact gets even extra cool, but you're -1 to the resulting leadership test. But yeah, you get extra cool stuff. The fact that you get a +1 to wound can be incredibly powerful for certain ones of these guns, and +2 to the melee weapon attacks can also be really crazy. But your leadership ain't great because you're -1. Character enhancement. So invigorated mecha tendrils for a warpsmith. Get +4 inches to your movement characteristic because you're walking around like Doc Ock. A tempting addendum. It's a Heretic Astartes model only. Each time a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle from your army invokes its contract within 3, it suffers 1 or more mortal wounds from the Dark Pact. Add 1 to its mortal wounds it suffers, so it gets worse, takes more damage. But until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. So you're basically just like cranking the dial on them to 11, which I think is very funny. Then you get the Forge's Blessing for Heretic Astartes model. If your command phase, select 1 friendly Heretic Astartes vehicle within 12, and they get a Feel No Pain 6+. And then finally, Soul Harvester for Heretic Astartes model. While the bear is on the battlefield, each time an enemy unit's within 12, and it's destroyed on a 5+, gain a CP, because you're just pulling out usable body parts to make more demon engines with. It's very Doom. All right, so once again, we have 6 different CPs, all worth 1. The first one is Desperate Pledge. In your shooting or fight phase, the target's a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle unit from your army that's not selected to shoot or fight yet, and the effect is your AP improves by 1 if you invoke your contract. So you get +1 to wound and +2 attacks in your melee weapons, and your AP would go by 1. So you just get slightly even better. A Glut of Souls. So the when is the fight phase. It targets a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle unit from your army that's not Titanic and hasn't fought yet. And the effect is until the end of the phase. If your unit invokes its contract, each time it makes an attack that destroys an enemy model, roll a d6, and on a 5+, unit gains a lost wound. So you're just eating people. Demonic Possession in your command phase. Target a vehicle unit that's not a demon, and then it gains the demon keyword, so you can just possess your vehicles. And then finally, Unstoppable Rampage. When in your movement or charge phase, the target's another vehicle that has not yet moved or charged, and the effect is until the end of the phase, each time you make a normal, advance, or charge move, you can move through terrain features as if they weren't there, so you just plow through stuff. All right, so we're into the Soulforged Warpack strategic ploys. So the first one is Predatory Pursuit. When your opponent's movement phase, just after they make a normal, advance, or fallback move, and the target must be a Astartes vehicle that's within 9 of the enemy, but not within engagement. And then you can move up to 6, but you must move closer to that unit, so you can like follow stuff. And then Feeding Frenzy for 1 CP. In your opponent's movement phase, when an enemy unit, excluding monsters or vehicles, falls back, target a thing that was in engagement range of them that is a Astartes demon vehicle. And the effect is until the end of the phase, each time an enemy unit, excluding monsters or vehicles, it's an engagement range of units falls back, all models in the unit must make a Desperate Escape test, and when doing so, if that enemy unit's battle shock, they're -1 of the tests. That means that if a vehicle falls back from one of these demonic vehicles, on a 1 or a 2, it's just dead. If they're battle shocked. It's hard to battle shock vehicles, but it would be very funny if they did. Yeah, that's not great. It would just be on a 1 if they fell back. But I mean, still on a 1, that unit could just die. That's it. Those are our new detachments. That cool color section with the new demon princes. They're not that new anymore, but they're kind of new. I did like seeing the Night Lords and stuff in here from Kill Team. And these are our data sheets. Like I said before, I'm not going to go through all these. I love this new Chaos Lord model. I will pause briefly on the ones from Kill Team that I don't believe were in the last book, but I think they got data sheets when the edition launched. Actually, I don't think the Traitor Guard did. I like the Enforcers in here with his brutal example, so that he can do a fire overwatch strategy for 0 CP each turn if he's leading a unit that's got a Traitor Enforcer. And then his Feel No Pain 4+ from having the Mutant Ogren in there as well. We've got our... Oh, there they are, Traitor Guardsmen. Yeah, they're Guardsmen, right? So move 6, 5+ save, leadership 7, and they're obsec 2. And again, they will get battle line if they're in that Dark Pax army. And they're basically armed as they would be. You don't get any heavy weapons though, so don't expect to have any like las cannons popping out of these guys. It's all just either a sniper rifle. 3 of the Guardsmen can have either a grenade launcher, flamer, meltagun, plasma gun, or sniper rifle. And no duplicates. That's interesting because they want you to use the Kill Team build. You can't have 3 of one of them. So I think that's going to be slightly controversial with people, but I'm for it because spamming cheap plasma guns doesn't seem great, or cheap melta-guns. And they get power weapons and chainswords in the sergeant, or they can have a bolt gun. And they get Twisted Defense Force. While units within range of an objective marker, each time a ranged attack targets the unit, they get a benefit of cover for the attack. I think that's great. They're just always in cover when they're standing next to an objective. And the models are fantastic. I think they're some of the best models that they've done. I like the Accursed Cultists and stuff. They were already around, but I like they're in here. And the Beastmen. 6-inch move, toughness 4, because they're Beastmen. 5+ save, leadership 7+, but only 1 obsec. And they're just melee dudes, right? They got their auto pistols and bolt pistols, and they've also got a corrupted stave for the leader, with his, or the psychic guy, the Felgor, or whatever he's called. The what's he called? The corrupted stave. Oh, it's just he just becomes he's got a name in Kill Team. I didn't know if they actually called him out in this. But you get chainswords, which have that strength of 4 and weapon skill 4+ with 3 attacks. You get devastating wounds and psychic for the corrupted stave, which is cool. So devastating wounds 4+ D3 damage. And they get Bestial Raiders. If this unit starts the game in strategic reserve, that can be set up in the reinforcement step of your first, second, or third movement phase, regardless of any mission rules. If this unit's in strategic reserve, for the purpose of setting up the unit in the battlefield, treat the current battle round as being 1 higher. Because they're sort of like infiltrators. And you get a champion and 9 beastmen, and you can have 1 guy with the stave. Cool. And then, yeah, we're looking at Chosen, Chaos Bikers. These guys were all in the spreadsheet already. Warp Talons and Raptors. There is not a specific called out Night Lords unit. They just use the same rules for Legionnaires because they're basically the same miniatures. And the options are in there for them. So, like, I believe the... I think I skipped past it, but let's have a look real fast. Because I'm pretty sure that they have the rules for having lightning claws and stuff if you want. Yeah, Legionaries. The Aspiring Champion's bolt can be a plasma pistol, a cursed weapon, a straight chainsword, or heavy melee weapon. The Aspiring Champion's bolt pistol can be a plasma pistol, a cursed weapon, chainsword, or melee weapon. You can get a chaos icon. Anybody can have a straight chainswords. You can have 1 heavy weapon. You can, for every 5 models unit, you can have a special weapon and no duplicates. So plasma pistol and straight chainswords, flamers, havoc autocannon, heavy bolt or las cannon, melta gun, missile launcher, plasma gun, or reaper chain cannon. And then 1 Legionnaires bolt gun could be a balefire tome. And that's like it. Actually, there's no, it doesn't look like there's any, I guess that guy kind of still has a bolt gun. Yeah. You have to reroll wound rolls of 1, and if it's next to an objective marker, you roll wounds instead. And when you're taking a Dark Pact text, the Chaos icon lets you reroll the test. So icons are important, making sure that that 6+ leadership gets passed. Yeah, I don't see any, I guess you just call them accursed weapons, maybe? But there's no... It's just bolt pistols and chainswords for everybody else. Yeah, 1 Legion can be given a heavy melee weapon, which is the big melee weapon for the whatchamacallit, the Night Lords. And then still all the old classics: Land Raiders, Annihilators, Destructors, Vindicators, Defiler, the Corn Lord of Skulls is still in here with his 24 wounds. The Noctilith Crown, the Stargate's still in there. And we got our Crusade rules, which are of course about taking down the Dark Gods and gaining glory. So it's all about tracking how much personal glory, Dark God glory, and Warfleet glory that you have, and you get them through the various agendas that you're performing. So things like claiming and despoiling, Path to Glory for the character, and then the Blasphemous Ritual. Your Warlord's glory, glory to the gods, glory of conquest. And they're scored different ways. So like, if your Warlord destroys 12 more infantry models, destroys 2 character models, or ends the battle in control of an objective marker in your opponent's deployment zone, then you get to mark a tick. It's completed if 2 or more of the following are done. Glory to the gods. It's completed if your Crusade army does 2 or more of the following. Destroys 6 or more monster vehicle units in the fight phase. Destroys 5 or more enemy models in psychic attacks, or you just win the battle. You have to get 2 or more. And then Glory of Conquest. Your Warfleet gains it if you get 2 or more of at the end of the battle round. You control 1 or more objective markers in your deployment zone, 1 in no man's land, and 1 in your opponent's deployment zone. At the end of the battle, 3 or more units from your Crusade army are wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. At the end of the battle, you control more objective markers in your opponent. And then you get fun battle traits. The Rites of Reforging and Machine Lord, so like you can reroll 1s with your vehicles. These are like for Warpsmiths and stuff like that. Infantry, dam units, vehicle units. Ascension of Demonhood, of course you can do that, so you can replace your character with a, or your Warband champion. If they've done personal glory, you can replace them with a Demon Prince, which is very funny. And then Chaos Boons, like Unholy Speed, I want to advance and charge rolls. Cool relics like the Maelstrom Key, the Sigil of the Shadow Lords, like a 4+ invul save and +1 obsec. the Book of Fate, and then named demon weapons like Zal the Wrathful. The bear, it's one for each god. So this one's the Khorne one. In the fight phase, the bear's unit makes a Dark Pact. Until the end of the phase, add 3 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bear, and 1 to the damage characteristics of melee weapons equipped by the bear. Golax the Decayed for Nurgle. In the fight phase, the bear's unit makes a Dark Pact. Until the end of the phase, melee weapons have anti-infantry 3+. And then we get our Crusade badges for what you do, and your warband tracker for the warbands. And then, like I said again, point values for those that, for what they'll be for the first little while until they get changed again. But again, QR code for the app for finding that. And then a cool name generator. So overall, I think I'm happy with this book, mostly because it's encouraging you to play the army in a variety of different ways. Not too many of them cause mechanical advantage, which means they're mostly thematic. And that's how I like to play Warhammer 40,000. I like to build my army to a theme. I like that in 10th edition, you can build your army any way you want, and the theme is just like an overlay. It doesn't necessarily require you to take units, but if you have them in your army, you gain the bonus of advantage for playing to a theme. And it's generally fairly straightforward. Like, you have access to most of what you've always had access to. There's very few units. Apart from, like, and this is just going to be across all of 10th edition, it kind of goes without saying, your old character builds might not work because you've got miniatures that are built a couple ways, and Workshop only includes the options for how the plastic model kits are made now. Apart from that, you can kind of use pretty much anything as long as you get the right unit sizes, and you can grab models to fill out to the unit sizes available, 5s and 10s for the most part. So I'm happy with this book. I think it's pretty cool. I love the inclusion of more cultisty, guardsy stuff, because to me that's what a Chaos Space Marine army should look like. It's more hodgepodge than an Imperial army, if that makes sense. And being able to have the option to include that stuff, it makes me happy. It makes the armies look different in the battlefield. They're not just different colors of Space Marines, right? That's the difference between modern Warhammer 40,000 and Horus Heresy is these guys have gotten real freaky over the last 10,000 years. They've had to do some needs must decision making, and they've gotten kind of weird. Not that the Imperium hasn't also gotten kind of weird, but it's very cool that they included things too that were thematic, like the Alpha Legionnaires, Deceptors rules, and stuff like that. So there it is. A look at Warhammer 40,000 Codex Chaos Space Marines, not called Codex Astartes, which I think is very funny. They still call them Space Marines. It's weird when they choose to say Astartes and not Astartes. Does that make sense to you? Like, does anyone else find that weird that sometimes they use the like, I guess like the trademarkable term and sometimes they don't? A lot like the Orc cards, these were also done in like shiny sides. There's like a metallic edging to the data cards and stuff too. But if you've got the book, obviously you can use the QR code and then just throw it in the app to have access to your army list at any time, which will include any updates and point value changes and stuff too. So there it is, another GMG review. Thanks to Workshop sending along the complimentary copy to review and for you guys to watch. Until next time, I'm Ash.